Hello and welcome to the Happy, Healthy, Strong podcast. This is a podcast dedicated to helping you live a happier, healthier, and stronger life. Building a life that you love starts with you owning your health and intentionally creating the best version of yourself. So if you're looking to better understand how proper nutrition, daily movement, mindset work, and strength training can help you create a life full of happiness and health, then you are in the right place. I generally hope that the tips, tricks, and information that we share will be the catalyst for change. I'm your host, Adam Lane. It's time to dive in. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Happy, Healthy, Strong podcast. I'm your host, Adam Lane. With me today from beautiful, sunny
thanks
Florida,
for having me. I'm excited.
Mr. Sherman Merricks.
I'm excited to hang
Sherman,
out
thanks
with
for
you
taking the
and talk a
time.
little bit.
We're gonna blow up the internet in just these next 35 minutes. It'll just be we're gonna snap this thing in two. Sherman, for the tens of people that listen to this show who might not know who you are and why you're such a big deal, tell these people who you are and why you're such a big deal.
Oh man, I am a former gym owner of we had the gym for 13 years. We just recently closed that down. We didn't sell it. We just closed it down because we wanted to. Oh, isn't that crazy? And then I currently own Lasso, which is a sales and marketing company that helps gyms grow and be great. I don't know why I'm famous or anything like that. I don't think I'm famous, but that's all I do. I'm a family man. Got to have a wife and 3 kids. That's what I do.
And you're a basketballer, big baller.
I do enjoy basketball a lot. I still play. Like every week, just about. I play with young guys though, so I am no longer. I'm 40 years old. I play with 22 to 30-year-olds, so I'm no longer the fastest, no longer the strongest. But it keeps me sharp though, because when I play with other 40-year-olds, I'm like LeBron James. Exactly. So yeah, I still play though.
So if you and your 15-year-old went out and played one-on-one to 11, who's going to win?
I'm going to say me right now. He's not strong enough. I'm going to do, daddy ball, like back him down but that is running out though. That is running out. So he actually maybe, but if I get the ball, I don't see him stopping me. I don't think, but if I miss, I'm in trouble. He's just too fast.
Yeah. It's amazing how the ball stuff, I don't know. I still have some decent strength and stuff like that, but holy cow, I go to shoot a basketball and it's like, what happened? Like it used to be here and now it just, gosh.
Basketball is definitely one of those things. Like if you lay it down for too long, like it's going away, like you'll still be able to shoot and stuff, but it's not it's not the same. Like it's just not. So yeah.
There you go. So Sherman, the thing that's interesting, hugely interesting to me about you, we talk on the podcast all the time about people being happy, healthy, and strong. That their ability in which, and it's always the general stuff. It's hey, we think you should lift weights. We think that's very important. You put on muscle mass, up your metabolism. We think you need to eat well. We think you need to eat, your strong amount of protein, your body weight in protein, body weight in grams of protein, whatever it might be, fruits and veggies, and just take care of yourself and blah, blah. And if you diverge now and again, we're all human. Who cares? Have a good time with that. We think you need, good social and support and fellowship with friends and family or church or whatever it might be. And be strong that way. We have not taught, now you owned a gym, all these things that you taught your people over these 13 years. However, the thing that's amazing with you is that the financial stuff that you've dialed down personally, which I think can bring so much stress to families. I think the only I don't want this to sound amazing, but I think 98% of the arguments that my wife and I have gotten into over 15 years of marriage have been basically around money. And it's been gym stuff, or it's been personal, stuff, but it's like, oh, what should we do with this? Or should we do with this? Or how should we do this? Or what about the kids, 529s and da, 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 da. And money is stressful. And you have quite the money story that has brought a lot of peace in your life. Can I say that? Is that a fair statement? do you want to? I don't even know where we want to go with this, but it's such a cool story. Do you want to start wherever you want to start, and you just go?
Okay. Yeah, okay. So I want to start with, first of all, um, I was I was raised by a single mom, right? Raised by a single mom, me and my sister. So the reason I'm telling you this because there's no there's no money coming from anywhere else, right? Like I knew from a young age, hey, I have to sort of do better, for lack of a better term, for me to get out of this situation. So, money, even from a young age, I've always known, like, hey, I need to figure out a way to make money. I need to be good with my money. But no one really taught me anything, right? Um, like I said, I went to college and stuff like that. However, in college, I still took out some loans. Then I went to grad school and I took out a lot of loans. And not having a plan. I was just taking out loans to live, to buy clothes, to do stuff, cause hey, you sign the paper and they give you money. Like they don't tell you anything else. So, when I finished, everything said and done, we had, I had, see my wife, she's much smarter. That's why you always marry up. My wife, she went to school. She came out with zero school debt, right? Zero. I finished school. I had about $200,000 in student debt. So I had enough for both of us, right? So,
So that was masters. Was there a master's program in there too? Okay, because you played basketball in college.
correct, correct.
Was it
So
was there money there? Did you get money there at all?
yes, yes,
Okay.
yes. I got some money, but not enough, obviously, right? Not enough. Um, and you know, here's the thing: like once I finished those degrees, it was sort of one of those things. I'm young, and I'm like, man, there's no way I could pay this off. I'm just gonna, hit one on the cell phone, defer it, and just keep kicking it around the road. Oh, like the interest will accrue, but your principal will stay the same. I didn't understand any of that. I'm just like, hey, keep kicking it down the road. And then, but here's the thing, Adam. Here's the thing. If I'm being totally honest, I always, like my wife would tell you, sometimes things would be going great in our lives, and she would be like, "What's wrong?" I was just like, "Man, those student loans, honey." I was like, "I got to pay these people back." I was like, "How can I pay them back?" I don't even make enough money. Like the gym, like at my gym's peak, like I don't mind. I'll be totally transparent. Like at my gym's peak, I was making like bringing home like 10 grand a month, which is a solid living, right? It's a solid living. However, it doesn't feel that way when you have friggin' $200,000 in student loans, right? And a family. And my wife doesn't work outside of the home. Like we decided she's gonna stay take care of the three kids. And I remember at times being like, okay, even if I get these people, $2,000 a month, right? Like how am I gonna pay these people? Like how am I gonna pay these people back? Like I'm just not like I don't know how. So actually one time, like here's the turning point. One time my family and I, we were up visiting some friends in Tennessee. I remember like it was yesterday. We were having a great time. We were going to the drive-in theater, and I'm driving to the drive-in theater, and Navient, yeah, I'm gonna say their name. Navient called me, and they're like, "Oh, you got to pay this and that," and that just put such a damper like in my spirit on that day, and I was just like, you know what? No more. I was like, no more. I remember that night when I told my wife, I was like, hey, listen, like I want to get on board with paying off these loans. She was like I'm on board. Like whatever we have to do, like let's do it. So I just like the way I operate. Once I get focused on something, right? Like a hound dog, I'm gonna focus on that, and everything else is gonna just go away. So then, the gym's going well. Started another company. Things are starting to go even better, and we just really focus on the debt, right? Every extra dime went towards the debt, right? There's no eating out, no card payments, no vacations. Now I will say that my income did explode. I don't know, I I'm a strong believer that once you like when you really focus on something, right? Like I'm a man of faith, so I believe like God's gonna honor that and let whatever needs to happen is gonna happen. And I want to be clear. I'm not saying that everyone's gonna pay off their debt super fast like I did, and we're going to talk about that timeline, guys. But I think when you whatever you focus on, that's what you're going to do. So then, long story short, we got focused, and we ended up paying off $203,000 of debt in 27 months. Right? Yeah, it was crazy, right? Like it was crazy. Business was going up, right? So started making more money, but I really didn't feel like I was making more money because all the increase was going to the loans every month, right? I remember some months writing these people a check for $10,000, $12,000. Like it sucked, but I knew like, hey, like this won't last forever, you know? So fast forward 203K in 27 months. And then when it ends, I remember having so much just relief. The mental stress is gone. Now I'm like, oh, now I'm actually going to be able to keep some of this money or a lot of this money. But something happened. We went on the Dave Ramsey show. Shout out to Dave Ramsey. I
Did
love
you? I
Dave.
didn't know
Yeah.
this.
Yes, I'll send you. Yeah, I'll send you the video and everything.
Oh
So
yeah,
we,
I want to see
so,
this.
so we went on the Dave Ramsey show, and they were great. But then from being on the Dave Ramsey show, Fox News, a couple of these major um, news publications reached out, and we ended up in an article for Fox News. We ended up on national news on one of the Fox Money shows. Blah blah blah. It was crazy. But here's the thing I figured out. There were some people because I was talking about at this time we were talking about student loan repayment, and I was like, I don't have a big dog in the fight, but I paid mine off. I feel like, hey, we should have to figure this out. I don't know if it's just, hey, yeah, you're just paying off everyone's loans. I could have kept all my money, but people were going nuts, man. People were calling my gym, like cursing us out. People were leaving us bad reviews. Like, I'll send you one of the articles, and you can go. You can still go up under it now and look at the 300 comments. People like counting up the money, saying like it's impossible. How can you pay this off? I did the math with taxes, this and that. And I'm just like, see, that's a God thing, right? Like you're looking at it from just like, oh, he did like you had to make this much money. Well, guess what? I do make that much money. I know it's hard to believe, but like it's even hard for me to believe. But like, yes, it's like I make that much money. I was able to do it, and you know, now being a few years out from it, I'm such a huge advocate of doing whatever you have to do, white knuckle it, focus. You get rid of that debt. There's a level of peace that you have no idea that comes with it. However, though, like this is the big thing, Adam, that stops people. When you get used to a certain cost of living, a certain way of living, going on vacations, driving a certain car, doing certain things like that, now you have to really swallow your ego, right? Especially in the circle that you hang with, because everyone else probably isn't going to do it, right? But now you're going to go from driving something nice to driving something that's not that nice. You're going to go from, hey, we're not eating out, we're going to eat at home. Sorry, guys. You know, you're going to go from, hey, we're not going to be able to make that vacation this year. And now you feel like, oh, you're missing out on so much. But really, though, my friends, all of my friends that are around us, they were great, right? We would be like, hey, we can't go out. They'd be like, all right, you can come over here. We can come over there and eat. You can't go on vacation. That's not a big deal. You just can't go on a vacation, right? Like, But now being done, though,
Let's be clear. You already live in Florida. Where do people in Florida go on vacation? Like, I don't.
Man, you go wherever you want. When you don't, here's the thing, when you really get free of those chains of debt, I'm talking about me firsthand experience. Once you really get free from that, man, the sky's the limit, right? Like it's just so much because then, once you get out of that debt, then you have your little emergency fund. Um, you know, there so many of these fights that couples have, like they're just gone, right? Like they're just gone. And I think that this is something that should be talked about more because even my kids know a lot about finances because we talk to them very openly, candidly about, hey, this is why we're not doing that. Oh, well, such and such has a new Tesla. Why don't we have one? Because we're not going to spend that kind of money on a car, right? Like we're just not, right? Like that would be X amount of time I would have to I'll be working just for a car like this and that, and then we're not going to do payments, guys. We're only going to pay cash. So, like they understand why we don't do specific things. I want them to know, like, hey, when you get out in the real world, I don't want you to think, oh, like, mama and daddy used to drive this and that, and it just came easy. Right? Like, hey, it comes at a sacrifice. So I hope that got us started at least.
Yeah. No, no, Sherman, I love the whole thing. So I used to be a public math teacher, 7th grade. I went to Iowa State, and this is back in the 90s, and this is before like college got stupidly expensive. And I got some money, some scholarship money through them. I applied for every local scholarship. My mom literally made me apply for every single local scholarship. And then I worked my ass off during the summers and stuff like that, in which did a long story short, finished with no college debt. But like all of college maybe cost me $60,000. Like, and that's everything, room, board, the whole shebang. And now 1 year of college costs $60,000. But like I started teaching, and like 10 years into the job, I had friends that started teaching the same time I did that were still paying off college loan debt. And let's be clear, we were teachers. Like we're not doctors. We're not lawyers. We're teachers. Love teachers. Mad respect. Love teachers. Great. Loved it. But like, I think you just have to be smart with, especially college now, where I think a little bit back in our day, it was a little bit more of an investment, where like, hey, you put money into something, you develop yourself, and now you become more marketable and you get a job and things are great. And now, holy cow, it's so much more expensive. I have no idea what my kids are going to do. Like
I know what my kids going to do, because we've already had this conversation with all of them. So, we have a community college in my town, right? I live in Gainesville, Florida, so we have Santa Fe Community College, but then we also have University of Florida. So my kids, if they don't get a full scholarship via athletics or academics, it's totally fine. Their mom and we're going to pay for them to go to 2 years of community college. Once they graduate there, then, these community colleges have these bridge programs here in Florida where they can go to some of the state schools, and then they'll bridge over that, and we'll pay for that as well. But not until after they live at home for another 2 years. You're going to go to community college for $5,000-$6,000 a year, if that. Once you finish that, you make great grades, then we'll pay for you to go to the next level. So it's going to be a tiered approach, because I'm not sending you to the University of XYZ so you can watch such and such play football or play basketball or have a good time. No, like, you lost the opportunity. If you really want that opportunity, you got to study your butt off or practice your butt off so you can get a full scholarship somewhere, so you can just go do what you want to do. But if I'm in charge of it, the steps are community college for 2 years, 2 years of state school, and then you'll be, you have a great start, and then we'll figure it out. If they want to go to grad school, we'll talk about that as well. But I think a lot of parents, though, especially if you're one, like I was the first person in my family to go to college, so no one had any knowledge about it. Everyone just on cloud nine that I went to college. Everyone on cloud nine that I graduated from college. Everyone on cloud nine that I'm going to graduate school. But when you get finished with all that, old Sally Mae is knocking at the door. She's calling you. She's not knocking at the door. She's calling. Yeah, this is such and such with Sally Mae. You have a payment due. like that's the piece that no one talks about. And I think a lot of parents, they have to really be honest and open with themselves and their kids and say, hey, listen, Adam, we can't afford for you to go to certain schools. Right? This is the track. Like, if you want us to help you pay for it, you don't have to pay for it all, because if you can't afford to pay, it's fine. If you want us to help you, like, this is we're going to find the most economical track for us, and that's what you're going to have to do. And that's just how it works, Like, that's just how it works. Like, I have a buddy, he makes a ton of money, a ton. And his daughter wanted to go to the University of Hawaii, And he was like, you're not going to the university. You're going to go to a state school. He's like, if you get a full scholarship at the University of Hawaii, you'll go. But I'm not paying for you to go to the University of Hawaii. And like, when I saw him do that years ago, I just like, yeah, that's exactly right. Like, I'm going to tell my kids exactly what to do if I'm paying for it. Hey, like, I don't care if your friends are going to, Florida State, University of Florida, blah, blah, blah. That's not how we're doing it. Because I'm not I'm not going to let them get set up like me and have all of that debt. And like, my kids and I, we talk often. I tell them, Daddy and Mama were very blessed to be able to have a high income and pay this off. And like, I think about it all the time. I talk about it all the time with folks. My income is high. My income is high. Like, I can't imagine what it would have felt like if I only made, quote unquote, only made 50 grand a year, trying to take care of a family, trying to pay off, $200,000 in debt. Like, that would have been brutal. Like, that would have been brutal. So, yeah.
You mentioned it earlier. I just want to want to highlight it. You talked about I want to talk about like the health piece and the peace of mind piece that comes with like really taking control of your finances. Because I think as bad, and all the research that shows how terrible social media is for kids and stuff like that, I think it is just as bad for adults, because I could scroll through my Facebook feed and just see friends of mine who are really doing what you were talking about earlier. It's like, oh, we got this new Tesla, and hey, we're da-da-da-da-da. Which is fine if that's your thing and you want to pay for that and you have the money to pay for that and I'm with you. I don't think I will ever buy a new car ever in my life. I'm currently driving a 2006 Pontiac Vibe. It won't die. I'm waiting for it to die, but I'm going to run that sucker into the ground. 242,000 miles in it. Just got the oil changed, and my mechanic's like, yeah, it runs like a dream. I'm like, gosh darn it. I leave it unlocked. I hope somebody will steal it. They never do. Nobody's stealing that car.
Yeah.
Nobody's touching it. Not a thing. But like, I think that's a hard thing for people to wrap their heads around, because they want to keep up with the Joneses and, oh, look at my card. Look at this great family vacation that we're doing. And look how great of a parent I am. And I think it's unfortunate, because I think they put this external pressure on themselves through whatever, just the pressure that we have in a normal day. I think social media blows that up even more. You mentioned it earlier. You kind of swallowed your pride and said, hey, we're not eating out. We're not doing this. We're not doing that. This is what we're driving. And we just need a car because we need to get from A to B and then back to A. Like, it doesn't have to be a Land Rover. Like, we can be okay. How hard was that? Because I think that's a big deal for people to like swallow their pride when it comes to that.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. There are some people that, I think for most people it's very, very difficult. Like, some people listen to this, like they can't even imagine that. Like, what do people think, But, there are a few people out there that are like me, and I'm just like, I have a goal to reach, and then once I reach the goal, I'll deal with everything else. Like, nothing else matters, right? But I think for most people, it is like, you have to, usually if you're married, one of you guys are okay with money, the other one may not know anything. Hopefully both of you aren't horrible with money, because, oh man, then that's bad. But I think that what you really have to do, though, you really have to have your why, right? Like, why do you want to do this? Because when things get tight and things get frustrated and you feel like you're in that, because I remember when we were like halfway finished paying off the debt, the excitement had worn off, and now it's just like, we still have another year of this. Duh, you know. And my why was because I want to be able to, like back then, I want to be able to build a home. I want to make sure I can pay for my kids to go to college. So like, I had a bigger why. Like even now, right? Like, we just built a brand new custom home not even a year ago, and all of that stuff. And my car died. I had a 2002 Toyota Camry. It died, had about 280,000 miles on it, right? My wife, she drives a van, and my car died about 6 months or so ago, and I still haven't got one. Now we're a one car family. It's super inconvenient at times, but I told myself I wasn't going to buy a car for a year, because everyone was like freaking out, like, oh, you got to buy a car now. Like, what are you guys going to? And I was just like, all right, I'm going to show everyone that we're going to be a one car family for a year. Is it inconvenience? Absolutely at times. But are we making it? Sure. Do I feel like our family is closer because now we got to communicate even more about who's going here? And you just have to look at it as, everything has to be fun, turn it into a game. I will buy me a new car soon. Not a brand new car, but I'm going to get a new car soon, but not until I hit that year mark of being a one car family. But, I don't think that most people really understand like what the why is. It just can't be because I want to get out of debt. No, it has to be bigger than that because like there's going to be some points where you just be like, hey, like I'm over this. And I was there, but my bigger why is what pushed me to say, hey, like this is only for a season. And turns out it was only for 27 months. Like that's all it was. I look back, that was quick. That was quick. And most people, like when they really get serious about their debt, they pay it off in 2 to 3 years, regardless of what it is, because you figure out ways, right? Someone may have to get an extra job. You may have to sell some stuff. But most people get out of debt in 2 or 3 years. But 2 or 3 years is easy for me to say now, but I look back at it like that was a battle. Like it was a battle. But now being on the other side, best thing I could have done for my legacy and my family. And I'm super honored and glad that my wife was just so helpful and we had, really no real big hiccups during the way. We just kept going and look up and then it was over.
Yeah. Is that step one? I mean, gosh, I hope it, not hope, but for the majority of listeners to the show that might not have $200,000 in debt, but maybe they we have this little thing called inflation going on right now. Depends on what news station you listen to. We either have it or we don't. We don't really know. I find myself, it's so easy to overspend. We don't go out to eat very often, but when we do, it's like, holy crap, how did we just spend $60 on 4 people? And what happened here? Like my kids are 9 and 12. Like what just happened here? In the way, I mean, is that step one for you in the way of, hey, people being smart with, not saying you have to, again, depending on where people are in their life. I'm looking to reduce stress in their life. Like I think I struggle with this all the time. I put my head to the pillow and my mind goes through the numbers of all the, the business stuff and our personal stuff. And, part of this is, hey, I'm driving a 18-year-old vehicle right now. At some point it's going to die. And hey, what's the plan once we get there? And hey, if we move money, and it is stressful. Now that throws off my sleep, which then throws off my recovery, which throws off my nutrition, which throws off my training, and can spiral me down into, oh my gosh, I slept like garbage last night, and now I'm yelling at my kids, just because my dad's fuse is short today, and I absolutely hate it. Is that step one with people with your recommendation, like in the way of, hey, you need to find your why. Why are we trying to do this? And then is there a step two or what's step two?
So I would say step one, yeah, you need to know your why, right? Step 1A is you have to find your why. Step 1B is you got to get on a strict budget. I know budget is a scary word for some folks. But you have to get on a budget because you have to know where every dollar is being spent, right? You got to know where every dollar is being spent. You got to know exactly how much debt you got. You got to know how much the light bill is, how much the credit card, all of that stuff. And for me, I know there's two but my wife and I, we don't separate our money. There's no, oh, I don't know. She's gonna, no. We're on the same page and we have to figure this out. So our finances are combined because we're working towards the same thing. I know some people don't like that, but for me, the money is combined, right? Like we are going to figure this out. We're going to do everything together as far as this money goes. Because again, like you said before we went live, I think like so many fights and divorces happen because of money, right? But if you over communicate about it, won't really, like my wife, she knows. Like I'm more of the nerd in the relationship. My wife's sort of like the freak spirit, like, oh, okay, yeah, like that's fun. But like she knows, hey, I want to have a money meeting every week. Like, let's talk about it. She's like rolling her eyes, like, come on, all right, let's dig into these numbers. Even though the numbers may not have changed that much over the week, but I'm excited. So that's the level of detail that you have to have. So yeah, you got to know your whys. 1A, B, you have to get on a strict budget, and you have to stick to it. Not only create one, you have to actually stick to it.
Yeah. I'm amazed. I've heard that thing before where the husband and wife will have separate bank accounts, and that I can't wrap my head around that. I'm like, how, if my wife's spending money that I don't know about behind my back, like that just seems, and vice versa with me, with her, like, we share an Amazon account. Just like, what did you order? Why do we have this? Why do we,
No, I call it
oh,
financial infidelity. That's what I call it. Financial infidelity. That's what I call it. That's what I call it.
well, and that communication piece, I think is such a big piece. Again, with the goal here of trying to bring, like peace of mind with, financial stuff. Like in my mind, it should get easier as you get older. And paying off debts and things like that. House or cars or student loans or whatever it might be. It should snowball, and become easier and easier and easier. Yeah, no, I think that's fine. Did you ever go? So I know Dave Ramsey's got the stuff where like you pay for everything in cash, and it just, did you ever go that extreme?
Yes. Yeah. Cash in the grocery store, sweating, counting quarters, making sure I can do it because I wanted it so badly that like I was like, for me, Dave had a proven method. He had helped hundreds of people. I would listen to the podcast every single day. Right. It's so funny because like my kids, like they knew the song, but then like it's like one of those things, right? Like I do that to keep me focused, to keep us focused. But then once it's over, I can't tell you the last time I listened to the Dave Ramsey show, which it breaks my heart to even say it. But when I was doing it, though, when we were doing it, that's what we listened to every time we got in the car. Because that's the only thing we need to be focused on. We don't need to be focused on anything else. We have to focus on this because we got to get this out of our lives. So I would say that anyone that listens to this and be like, man, I want to change, start listening to the Dave Ramsey show. Like, because it'll fire you up. So you use everyday people doing extraordinary things every single day. Like I was there when I went on the show. There was a couple that went before us. I know him now because we exchanged numbers, but they lived in DC area and they were like, oh, we paid off, $400 and something $1,000 in X amount of time. Just like, oh, they definitely paid off their home. So I would go up to them, congratulations, you guys paid off your home. And they were like, no, we didn't. I was like, so what was it? They were like, credit cards. Oh my gosh. And their income wasn't like, it was a decent income. But it took them about 4 years. It took them about 4 years to pay it off. And yeah, like for me, like really being on the internet and reading some of the comments, I see how, again, people would look at me and be like, there's no way, like I don't make that kind of money. And again, I always joke around like this is new to me as well, right? This is new to me as well, making this type of money. However, anyone can do it, right? Like I said, I come from a single mom, like no special, no one gave me anything. I didn't know anything. Just sort of got lucky, got blessed, figured some things out. But I think the bigger issue is it's not the money. The bigger issue is having a plan and doing whatever it takes, right? Like I know plenty of people. Well, I mean, I was one of them. I had two businesses to try to make it work. So I had two jobs trying to make it work, working two jobs, like you said, too busy, but all that money, putting it towards the debt sucked. Like I was getting nothing out of it. Bare minimum on everything. And I think that, a lot of people, like you said, they don't want people to look at them a certain way, but I didn't care. I talked about mine again. And there's nothing like telling something to the public, like I post a lot on social media, Facebook. So like, I remember when I first started paying it off, I was like, I'm going to pay off this debt, right? Start putting it out there. I start posting articles about it. So then people start asking me, oh, how's it going? And I started posting stuff. And that's why when I paid it off, right, like I couldn't stop, right? I couldn't just be like, oh, I decided to quit when I got halfway. I guess I could have, but got way too much pride for that. So that's another thing, put yourself out there. Tell people what you're doing. Tell them to hold you accountable. And then you'll look up in 2 years or so and like it'll be gone. Like I want to be clear, Adam, and the listeners. I never in a million years thought that I would be able to pay off that debt in 2 months. I mean, in 2 years. Never. Like that didn't cross my mind at all. But now I look back and I'm free. We are free.
Well, I think it's fantastic. I mean, it's in a similar boat as somebody, hey, I'm going to start this weight loss journey and I'm going to put these before pictures online, and then I'm going to take, whatever weekly pictures, or I'm going to take pictures of myself working out in the gym. And and it's funny because a lot of times you'd want to hide this stuff. You want to hide the fact that you have this debt. You want to hide the fact that I'm X amount of pounds overweight and I'm, kind of ashamed of how I look. And I want to look better. I want to feel better. I want to be financially healthier and stuff like that. It's so easy to hide that. Like, I'm not going to post anything. This is going to be my, but you put yourself out there and hey, there's extra motivation because there you are. People are holding you accountable. And they're supporting you in this process.
That's the bigger thing. Like, you'll be surprised about how many people, like, I had people messaging me personal, private stuff about their finances because they saw what I was doing. Right. I'm just like, why are you telling me this? It was great. Right. Like, you'll be surprised with some of the support that you get as well. But be sure that you understand once you pay it off, there will be some haters as well, because it'll go from all the people that support you, and then when you pay it off, there are going to be some people that come out of nowhere and say, like, I actually had, like, there were actually people saying, like, oh, there's no way he paid it off. Like his rich dad must have helped him. I'm just like, bro, I really don't even know my dad. So, like, that's not it. That is definitely not it. But, like, people just need to find something, to be negative about. So I think that for anyone that's listening and you really want to do it, and just do it. Reach out to Adam. He'll put you in contact with me. Like, I'll be your debt partner to help you get through it, because, again, there's no greater feeling than not having, having a lot of money left over at the end of the month. That's a great feeling. It's a great feeling.
Sad that in this world that we live in, where, everybody wants debt forgiveness and student loan forgiveness and stuff like that, you step up to the plate and be like, I'm taking this on and, knock it out of the park. And let's be clear, it wasn't one swing. It was swing on swing on swing on swing on swing, for 27 months. And then, you actually took responsibility for the debt that you got yourself into and got yourself out of. And now, you're on the other side of the mountain and the sun is shining and everything is great. But, I totally respect that, how you, I guess, took that responsibility on, and instead of trying to pass it on to whoever, the government or the other, whoever, like, you paid it off. Like, there you go. Oh, Sherman, this is awesome. I also really appreciate your take with your kids on stuff too. Cause one of the things that's interesting, one of the things that our school system up here actually does a really nice job of, they have this running start program. So if you get through your first 2 years of high school, junior year, you're able to go to Rock Valley College and take credits, like dual credit, that will give you high school credit and college credit at the same time. So we have kids then their senior year who graduate high school and also graduate with their associate's degree, which they don't pay for. Somehow the school did it. I don't know how it works, but, like, I absolutely love that idea. I think that is fantastic. All the nonsense BS that happens in public education, you can just go, you can learn what you need to learn, get credit for what you need to get credit for, and get out. And then you're halfway through college. And then let's make a decision. Like, do we want to do the part, the college route? Or heck, do you want to just be a millionaire and become an electrician or a plumber? Because those guys are getting paid well, to do that stuff. So, no, I love it.
It's funny you say that. I already told my son, I was like, hey, listen, I want to be clear. Like, college is not the only way. If you want to go to trade school, I'll help. I'll be your money guy. I'll back you. Start this trade business, and we'll hire other guys. I was like, I want to be part owner in it. I was like, because if you start a plumbing company, one day you may not understand. We're going to have 15 plumbers working for us, and we're going to be crushing it. So, like, I don't want them to feel like, oh, I got to go to school, got to be a doctor, got to be a lawyer, insert whatever. Man, you could be a plumber. You start off as a plumber, and then you turn into an entrepreneur, and now you're employing 20 to 25 plumbers. Your life will be very, very good.
Dude, it's funny how just at some point in this college bubble, I'm curious to see what happens. My kid's got 6 more years, so we have to think about this yet. But, like, I'm curious to see what the college bubble does within this time. Because, I mean, can you continue to charge $70,000 a year in which to go to blankety blank school? I don't know if you can.
Only because people will not, because people's pride don't want to let them not go to college, right? Like they still think like when my kid has, like I have a buddy, he's a physician, and he talks about, some of his close work acquaintances, they're physicians, and they're sending these kids to these big time schools that they really can't afford to send them to. You start going to big private schools, you're talking big time money. They're like, yeah, but their kid has wanted to go to Dartmouth since they were babies because they went to Dartmouth back when Dartmouth was only, $8,000 a year. Now it's 88 grand a year. But you tell little Tammy, listen, you can't go to Dartmouth. I know I went there. It was only 8 grand a year. Now it's 88. You can't go to Dartmouth.
Shouldn't be that hard of a concept. That's pretty clear.
Like I've never asked one of my physicians, lawyers, CPAs, whoever, hey, what college did you go to? Bro, no one cares about that. If you're great at your job, that's all that the real world cares about. So, yeah.
Sherman, what do we miss? What do you wish I would have asked you that I didn't ask you?
No, I think you asked great questions, man. There was nothing. We talked about some good stuff today. I think that, it's really gonna, again, listening to it, I hope that people can still take some motivation out of this, even though, my income is big, right? Like but this is new, guys. This is new to me too. My income, when I first started this thing, I never thought that I would be able to pay off $203,000 in 27 months. I didn't think that, but I actually told my wife, I remember telling her, hey, we're going to pay off this $200,000. I was like, so like, it's probably going to take us about 6 years. She was like, okay. I was like, all right, like, okay, let's do it. Like I was going off of my income. What we could put away, just saying, okay, we'll probably get a little, we'll probably make a little bit more. So I had planned for it to take us 5 or 6 years. But correct. But again, you always, like, once you really get down into it, you find a way, right? Like you find a way, you start making more money. You stop wasting money, so then you can put more money on it. And the next thing you know, you look up and you're free. And there's no better feeling. Like I definitely shed some tears when I got out of it. I definitely no shame here. Like it was one of the, it was a phenomenal feeling. Phenomenal.
Yeah. Well, and the money that you saved by really, really attacking it and getting it done in 2 years versus doing it in 6 years, like that extra interest that's accruing, those extra 4 years on 6-figure debt, like that's like now you're reaping the benefits now because now there's not, because you went after it.
So I did. So that was also one of my big motivations, because I knocked out all of mine when they paused the student loan interest. Because I remember thinking, like, man, there's no better time, right? I got all this debt, like this interest is killing me. I was like, I got to do it before they turn it back on. Obviously, we didn't know when they're going to turn it back on. So that was also a motivating thing. I was trying to get it done before they turn the interest back on. But I remember one of the first payments I made, it was about $2,000. And I log into the thing and I hit submit. Next day I look, and the balance had actually went down by $2,000. I was like, what is this? Like, this is magic. And like that fired me up, because usually when you pay it off, especially when you got big 6-figure debt, you put a couple $1,000s down. That thing may go down by like $300, So what a time, bringing back good memories. But I'm glad to be past it. I'm glad to be past it.
Sherman, this is awesome. I just think that financial stress, the money piece, the money stress in everyday life, just because, I mean, everything right now is more expensive. My groceries are more expensive. Like housing's more expensive. Everything's more expensive. I think it's more important today to have a good grasp on your financials. And I don't care if you're making, whatever, 50 grand a year or 200 grand a year, like it doesn't matter. Just to be smart and not to, run through crazy debts and things like, and I don't know, Dave Ramsey's done some fantastic things. You've reaped the benefits, through this, and now you're on the other side and doing fantastic things. But so I really appreciate you taking the time and telling your story, because I think I think it can be so impactful for so many adults that struggle with the money thing. Because I mean, similar to you, I mean, I didn't take a how to handle your finances class in high school. We took consumer ed and we learned how to balance a checkbook. And that was like, oh, okay, well, there, yeah, math. I know how to add and subtract. So, line up the decimals. That's important. But like nothing after that. So, I appreciate you taking the time and sharing your story, because I think it's a powerful one. And yeah, you're awesome, man. Thank you so much.
Yeah, definitely, man. Thanks for having me. And I just hope this just motivates one person to get out of debt. It'll be worth it. One person.
So if people want to follow you and to see all the great things that you're doing post debt, where do they go?
Facebook or Instagram. Facebook, my name is Sherman Merricks. And then Instagram, I'm Sherman Merricks as well. Cute black guy, easy to find.
easy to find. We'll link all that up in the show notes and stuff like that, because it is. I mean, dude, to see what you've done with what you've done, and obviously the businesses have been doing very well. We're using your marketing services and whatnot, and we're thrilled with the the product that you guys have produced, and our bi-weekly meetings, and so I get to see your beautiful face, multiple times a month. It's a beautiful thing.
It's a win-win. It's a win-win.
Win-win. There you go. Awesome. Sherman, thank you so much. Appreciate you. You're the man. Listeners, thanks for listening, and we will catch you on the next one. That's all we have for you today. If you have any questions or want to chat or interested in seeing what we're up to in between episodes, head over to Instagram and Facebook and follow @OakStrength. Also check us out at oakstrength.com. If you like this episode, please share it with someone who wants to live happy, healthy, and strong. If you really liked it, subscribe and review the Happy, Healthy, Strong podcast on iTunes or Spotify. Be sure to tune back in next week, and remember to keep owning your health.